That was Calcats, the Calcatster, and this was our double feature night tonight. It was Thor: Love and Thunder earlier in the day, and that was followed by Everything Everywhere All at Once the end of the day. So it's double feature Friday. The multitude, kind of like the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, actually, a little bit. Same kind of idea, kind of like Into the Spider-Verse. Right out of the gate, it's 4 stars. It's probably the best of the year so far, 2022, and they need to give it Oscars. It has the right chemistry. It's a sci-fi action kung fu movie with it would be the sci-fi category at the Clara Awards. It would be science fiction and thriller, those 2 categories, and maybe Best Picture too. So it would definitely be a contender for that so far this year. It's about halfway through the year, and nothing's come close yet. The Spider-Man No Way Home was very good, and that would be there too. But this one was different. I suppose it's Quan and the brothers, Russo brothers, I think. Some other people involved. It has Michelle Yeoh from Star Trek. It has some other people from Crazy Rich Asians and others, and from also from 10 Rings. Very similar quality. This is not a Marvel movie though. This is a movie that's a basic premise appears to be and it's shot like all Transformers mush. Very much. Yeah, if we had the special effects to make it look like this, that's what it looked like. Yeah, so we don't, but it's shot like it. It's like visually, the cameras in the similar places and stuff. It's shot like a Marvel movie. It's shot like mush. Mush is imitating Marvel. Imitation. It's a Cillian type of story. Mark Scards had seen it first, and I saw it streaming. I think he went to a theater, or he might have seen it streaming. It's the basic premise of the movie is that a Chinese family is running a laundromat, which could sound offensive, but isn't. No, it's actually a Chinese family running a laundromat. It's being audited by the IRS. That does create an interesting screw up with the, I guess you would say the text scrolls and stuff. Because a lot of it takes place in this IRS building, but when they show the TV footage, they say FBI building, which is, it's not an FBI building, it's an IRS building. Yeah. So I did notice that, but so there's there was some odd confusion when the movie first came out, equating it to things that didn't actually happen at all in the movie because people watched the trailer and were misinformed. And one of them being that somehow it had something to do with 9/11. They must have confused it with something else because it had nothing whatsoever to do with any kind of a 9/11 thing. It had nothing to do with that. They were not in the Trade Center. It wasn't anything like that. There was a spaceship launch that was briefly shown in the background in one scene. There were buildings going. Nothing blew up. Nothing. Yeah, it was entirely nothing to do with 9/11 at all. Nothing. Right-wingers were probably freaked out that there happened to be a lesbian couple in it. Ooh. I was like, guys, really? It's 2022. Get a grip. Come on. They don't do anything, though. They're just, like, lesbians. What's the big deal? Okay, so, yeah. They're it certainly isn't necessarily woke either, because technically the characters in it are traveling through different universes, and therefore they get their superpowers through going through different universes. So she's not really a Mary Sue, because the commander lady, the one in charge, the laundromat lady, is kind of fumbling her way through it. In fact, this particular character that the story is set based on is an anti-hero who fails at everything. And all of her other selves in the other universes are trying to get to her to stop this bad guy, lady, who's trying to destroy them throughout space and time. The twist was pretty obvious from the get-go. The humor reminds me of a cross between the excellent but not necessarily best picture of the year, the Parasite. It was best foreign film of the year. Shouldn't even best picture of the year. I think best picture that year was one of the Marvel movies. And it had that kind of humor. I commented to Arch Cars as if Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee was still around. Bruce Lee died a long time ago. Jackie Chan and a bunch of other decided to smoke a whole ton of marijuana, do a whole bunch of shrooms, and watch some Marvel movies and get high, and write a script while they're stoned, just put whatever was on the page in the movie. And that's kind of what happens. There is a plot going on, though. It does have a central plot. But if you have ADD, you're probably going to be real confused. Because you're going to be like, okay, what's going on here? I don't. So I can follow the plot. What's going on? There's threads. Put those pieces together and coherent narrative. So basically, in a distant future of this other timeline, this main timeline, there's the daughter, spoilers, it's the daughter, turns into an evil witch because she decides she has to create like this multiversal bagel floating in space that controls this weird time traveling, space and time universe traveling headsets they wear, and they go back and forth through time that way through the different multiverses. All of them much like Earth. There's even a bizarre universe where they actually did the multiverse better than Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness did. They showed the other universes. They even had a bizarre universe where people had sausage fingers and could play stuff with their toes. In that universe, Jamie Lee Curtis and Yo were apparently a thing, which is funny. So they were playing with that too. But yeah. Hot dog fingers. Yeah. Also, there were the digital version of it. It said in the commentary, there was the commentary playing on the side. Said that the digital version they had to change some of the wording around because the wording was offensive to certain other groups. Like the bad guy was called Big Nose, and somebody told them that well you can't say the other bad guy was called Big Nose because that could imply Jewish. Even though, no, I don't think any. Having relatives that are partly, I don't think they would infer that at all. Just having relatives Jewish and Italian with big noses, I don't think we would be offended. No, we'd be like, yeah. But they changed it to Dog Lady, which makes it sound more strange, actually. Ollie. Yeah, don't worry about the nose thing. That's nothing. But yeah, there's a scene where the Jamie Lee Curtis's character is the evil auditor lady, and she has like trophies on her desk that are shaped like big butt plug things. It's like, okay, so at some point, one of those is going to end up someone's ass, and it does. It's funny, and they digitalized it out so you could not quite see it on the digital version, even though in the theater it was probably actually up his butt, which is funny. So That's the question: why did one of the bad guy security guards in that scene pull his pants down in order to take the device up his butt? It's pretty weird. Yeah, there's all kinds of strange things going on in this movie. It is bizarre. It is just slightly flighted anyway from Taco Bell food earlier. But yeah, but even so, yeah. But yeah, this movie is just odd. So there's this premise that they go to the auditor, and then everything hits the fan. The husband, she's getting a divorce from her husband, who appears to be slightly shorter than her. Michelle Yeoh's character, divorced from her husband, and he turns out to be some kind of super agent from another dimension. And they want to do several things, and they switch back and forth. Several things to escape or fight the guards and fight the lady, Curtis's character, and fight the other people and fight their way out, doing kung fu. There's all this massive kung fu fights going on everywhere. The choreography is similar to Shang-Chi, probably because it's the same people doing that too. And Multiverse of Madness too. So there's two movies that were in production when this movie was in production that inspired each other greatly. I think this one does it better than the Marvel one did. The two Marvel ones did. If you're going to do a bizarre sort of adventure movie. In Other Dimensions, she's more famous, though. In Other Dimensions, she's a famous kung fu person, a famous star, a famous singer. There's a hilarious bit where in one universe she's a famous chef in a bizarre ripoff of Ratatouille, but it's called Raccoonatouille, in which it's a raccoon instead, and they actually show the guy with a raccoon stuck to his head running around as like a puppet. That was pretty funny. And then they go to rescue the raccoon. They're going to rescue the raccoon at the end. It was just weird. And it was well over 2 hours and 40 minutes or something. It was long. I did not see it in theaters, so it's probably more bizarre in theaters. Yeah, so Everything Everywhere All at Once. It had 3 other titles. Some of them were funny. As I was reading the cue card things that popped up every once in a while during it, they titled in Hong Kong and China and certain other places it's called something else. Yeah, that's often the case with titles of movies. Two of the hilarious ones are Magic Woman Saves the Universe or Magic Woman Fucks Up the Universe. There's that was a good one. Magic Woman. So yeah, it has the same title as Chorayarmi Adam. So yeah, better known as Turkish Star Wars. It's just Man Saves the World. The man who saved the earth. The woman who saved the earth. In this case, it'd be the woman who screws up the earth. Except the earth is what it's. Or the other one is messes thing. The Taiwanese one is messes up the earth or f's up the earth. But yes. Yeah. Apparently, Michelle Yeoh kind of knows what she's doing. She had some fighting experience. Yeah. Well, you could tell she had some experience with combat training and stuff in the others. For some reason, there's a phone leaving a message. This late at night. You know what? I'm not going to answer it. Nobody should call this late at night. Anyway, so, that was weird. So, yeah. It's quite late. And, yeah, so Everything Everywhere All at Once. A lot of kung fu battles in that set building they used, the IRS building. Flights of stairs, up and down flights of stairs, bizarre things happening. Then the mother character figures out that she can use silly things like these googly eyes. She doesn't like those. She puts googly eyes and everything. In one universe, everything, there's no life at all. It's just a couple of rocks, and they're talking back and forth. Very, very zen sort of thing. Very cool. Okay. Very, we ought to like the rocks. The rock eventually falls off the cliff, but yeah, they even do sort of a gag with the primates doing dan 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 in the other universe where the fingers developed. Where the primate, the sausage finger people get killed. Kill the primate so he doesn't. Well, they've completely changed the universe, though. If their hands were floppy, there wouldn't be anything built at that point. They wouldn't be able to use their digits. It would be just a weird-looking, probably very primitive. They wouldn't be able to manipulate that kind of thing. Even if they could do that with their feet. But yeah, sure. Samurai stuff, Chinese stuff. And no geisha paint, like in Milan, the Milan movie, and outfits. Yeah, they didn't mess that up, thankfully. But in the live action Milan, they screwed up. They doubly screwed up that scene, as was told in Milan by the actual Chinese no-play YouTube character who was like. Okay, I had commented about that. I said, yeah, the cartoon one in Milan, the cartoon one in the remake, they had the geisha paint again. They put it in there too, and she said, well, actually, the geisha paint isn't wrong in the movie version, live action version of Milan. It's the costumes. They probably could have put like powder paint the way they did, but yeah, the costumes are wrong. Would not have been wearing kimonos. So they screwed up in the cartoon with the geisha paint, and then in the movie, they put the wrong costumes on them. And besides, they put it on too thick, and she looked like a clown. It was supposed to look like a clown. So in this one, the makeup was not bad. They did have some bizarre things with stick-ons and things like that. Goofy characters, and it was all very surreal in parts. It reminded me in parts of Brazil, the last part where everything goes apeshit and her head's exploding, or her mind is fractured from the warp thing. It reminded me of the end of Brazil, the Terry Gilliam movie. Inspired a little by that, except it wasn't so much other universes as he goes inside his head. And in the Terry Gilliam movie, Brazil, the American version, they just cut off the ending entirely so it looks like he gets away. They didn't want that ending. They wanted a happy ending. But in the European print and the Criterion print, there's like 5 more minutes. And they reveal that he didn't get away. He's actually just lobotomized, and he's in the cell. They've captured him. But he's trapped, but he's escaped. And he's in his mind, he's escaped, and he's grinning like, yeah. They're all, we can't reach him. Hence the song, Brazil. The Brazil that I knew in my imagination songs. By not showing that in that movie, they screwed it up and they didn't do it right. This one, you don't know what to expect. It's not a Marvel movie. It's its own thing. It's its own multiverse. And the part about the daughter being the lesbian is not a problem in the story at all. The divorce part isn't a problem. Mousy husband does kung fu, and so does the wife. The daughter knows kung fu too. They all know kung fu. So it's like if Jackie Chan was like high as a kite. He's not in it, I don't think. Some other guy is in it. It's like they just wanted to do these crazy kung fu moves and everything. And the point is that the mother ultimately has to forgive and forget and love again and whatever. And in a spoof of that, like dark comedy spoof of that, close the portal, that black hole type portal of the bagel space. A bagel, yeah, just bagel. That could be more offensive than the nose gag. The bagel. No, they like their bagels over there too in China. So we're okay with that too. Um, we're okay with that. That's fine. You don't need to change that. A black hole as a bagel is pretty funny, but unrealistic because it would not be a black hole, it'd be a wormhole. You'd never be able to enter it, and they're not entering it. So in the case of Space Bagel in this movie, it was acting like a wormhole. It was acting like an Einstein-Rosen ring, Einstein ring. So in that case, it's like a wormhole, and the universe is going around inside it. Ouch. So you couldn't enter that either because it would be too small. It would be crushed inside the singularity. They like that one. It's fun to see in Universe Sandbox. The black hole blows up. Or have a multiverse Earth crashing into each other. So this movie has some multiversal qualities to it. Yeah, so it's, and as you get closer to a black hole, you would get older. Now this movie didn't do that, but I just thought to mention the black hole thing, just because it's about universes and different timelines and things, how they would create the physics of that world or that multiverse. They would have to have already developed fusion power and shit like that way back when in that universe. So some of these other universes already have that long ago, and they were able to use it in this one. So that's how I figure it works, because they've tapped into the multiversal constant of the whole thing, and they've figured out how to go from one reality to another under the basis that when someone turns right or left, a new universe is created. Go into that other universe. Yeah, pretty wild, weird shit, weird physics. Yeah, pretty weird. But yeah, that's what I was getting at. So, yeah, so yeah. So what else? It reminded me of several earlier kung fu movies as well. The works of Jackie Chan, the works of Jet Li, Bruce Lee, the works of a little bit of Bruce Lee in there. There's classic stuff. Some of the action movies of the 80s and 90s that had bizarre fighting, kicking things. The Killer, the original one. The prison attack one. The one with the prisoner guys in the jail, and he's a fighter and he beats up all the prisoners. Kung Fu one. The one where the guy goes to hell and he's in purgatory or something, and he fights different versions of like Universal Monsters and Popeye there, which is really strange. Kind of like that idea, yeah. Popeye, Universal Monsters, weird. It's just kaiju movies, yeah, kind of thing. And not so much Godzilla though, because that would be Japan. Japan, different. And it's also a spoof of No Plays. Have you ever seen those? Those are NGO No Plays. They're sort of like Bollywood ones, kind of with song and dance and stuff, but they're also weird. Some of them are they'll throw in martial arts and stuff and have messages. This one does have political messages in it, but they're not anything that they would go right over the heads of most people. I think they weren't directly, like the capitalist lady is the bad guy and whatever, and but in some universes she's not. So that kind of thing. I think only the controversy that they complained about was, ooh, there's a gay character. Oh no, because they were so butthurt over that. I don't know. But yeah, it's like, yeah, but the characters in the story are very conservative, and they think it's odd that she's like that. So they address that in the movie. So they shouldn't be butthurt about it. But they learn to forgive and respect them and everything works out in the end. Yay, okay, so yeah, so my review of Everything Everywhere All at Once and a little bit of lecture on black hole theory and multiversal theory and stuff, and the multiverse and whatever. Mm. Yeah, so we can't really hop between dimensions with the Hadron Collider, or with fusion, or walk into the doorways and stuff. I see where people get this from because you can totally tell if you've been in a fun house with a lot of mirrors, or it looks like there's other dimensions, or if you've been in a there was a cool restroom in the men's room in there, oddly enough. At San Jose State in the engineering building, they put mirrors on either sides of the wall mirrors were on the either sides of the sinks, and so you could stand in the middle of the engineering department in the sink area, and it would look like it went on forever, like because the mirrors on one side and the mirrors on this side, it would go on forever. Okay, yeah, because the engineering building would have something like that. You're like the portal to another dimension. Mirrors are often there were Zen elements, Buddhist elements in the story. Characters doing things with the New Year's things and other idols and things like that. The Siquan is mentioned. The divination thing was mentioned quite a bit. Other things were thrown in that were interesting. Not as I see a lot of Japanese movies and some kung fu movies, and I'm not as familiar with the stuff that's going on in the background of a Chinese movie than a Japanese or a Korean one. With those two, than this one. But I kind of get it. I kind of get it. What's going on? But yeah, it's interesting. I wonder how well it did in there. Wonder what they edited out over there. But no, you can't show this thing. They probably edited the whole subtext of the daughter being a lesbian out of the Chinese print when they aired it over there. They probably just cut that out. We don't want to show that. So that she's just angry at her daughter for no reason. It's not going to make any sense. It's the main plot of the story. It's like redemption and stuff. Yeah, she has a good redemption arc. And also the villain has a good redemption arc in the movie. Unlike in Obi-Wan, where she just redeems herself out of nowhere and decides, oh, maybe I won't go after Luke. I'll just not, because I looked at him and he's the chosen one or something. It's like, no, that's dumb. This one, it was more like, no, she's about to get sucked into the portal thing and destroyed, and she's finally forgiven, and she's like, oh, well, maybe we won't suck you into the portal and destroy you. That actually makes more sense. It's like, yeah, she's still mad. She's just not as mad. And then they argue at the end. But then everything's all right. After they spent several universes trying to destroy each other. But yeah, best picture of the year. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. So far, best picture of 2022. It's pretty sad that they so far let's see. One of the best cartoons of the year was the Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. Similar idea. Yeah, go through different multiverses in that one too. Because everybody wants to do a multiverse 2022. They want some of that Sony Into the Spider-Verse money from 3 years ago. They want some more of that. But it can get convoluted. They do all these multiverse jumping things. It can get extremely convoluted, and don't do that so much. Because we know that a lot of those early multiversal stories back in the 70s from Marvel and stuff, those comic book guys were high as and they were like, dude, I've got an idea. The celestial gods come down, dude, and lightning bolts, and Superman fights them. Or Silver Surfer, he's a surfer, but he flies through the air. Dude, there's a giant head robot, ego, and then there's a giant Kryptonian dude. They were high. They were absolutely high as shit. Not advocating being high as shit. Be high responsibly. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not high. Yeah, just sugar. Here's the sugar. Candy bar. Candy bar. See, it's not. It's chocolate. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's everything everywhere all at once. 4 stars. Yes, because when you do that, when they describe a black hole, it's been described wrong for in pop culture for 40 years or more, maybe a little over 40 years, 50 years. Until Interstellar kind of fixed it a little bit, kind of, sort of. Yeah, because like a black hole is always described as a space-time continuum with a sinkhole, a gravitational well in space-time and 4 dimensions, and it goes down, and then they think, oh, it's like a sinkhole, like a drain that's going out of gravity from all directions. But it's not a drain. It's pulling in light from all directions. So it's a sphere. There's something, singularity beyond the event horizon all the way around. It's a sphere, black hole. It's not a wormhole, not like in Star Trek, the Star Trek 09 at all. Not like in some of the Star Trek episodes either. Not like the black hole from Disney, the Disney movie, but more like Interstellar. That you'd get close to it and gravity would go crazy. Yeah, but you'd never reach it, and you'd never see it. Your spaceship or whatever would be destroyed and spaghettified long before that. And you wouldn't be pulled down a well into anything. Your atoms would eventually hit the surface of the singularity and spread out all over the surface. Or, if you hit it from the angle of the event horizon of the Hawking radiation, you would be shot out the other side. Hawking radiation. With the Hawking radiation. So it is possible to hit it at an angle so that you or whisk off in space. And black holes that are shooting astrophysical jets, like that giant one they first photographed, it's acting like a white hole because it's shooting more of that radiation than normal. So that's a different kind of black hole. It's a white hole, quasi-stellar white hole. But a quasar is not exactly a white hole. Quasar is an astrophysical singularity. A white hole would be something where nothing could get into it. Well, it would be the opposite of mathematical black hole. Nothing could get into it. It would be whipped around and blasted off and gone. The space thing that was Anton Pefov website that was speculating on the CERN thing and black holes as well. And commenting on there. But then I commented, but he actually should have watched the whole thing because he did too. He said, like, the only reason people think that the Large Hadron Collider and the CERN thing would blow up is because it looks like a space gun. And yeah, it just looks like a big space gun. So they think, like, oh, it's going to be like, it has an eye, it looks like a chute. It's got like a big funnel thing, and it looks like science fiction-y, giant science fiction-y space weapon. So they figure, oh, it's a nuke. It's going to blow up the Earth if they turn it on. No, actually, not at all. In fact, there was a it's a tangent. It's not in the movie, but they somebody like even opened it up and stuck himself in it, and then came out. Fortunately, it wasn't on. Probably would have given him cancer or something. Yeah, they had to turn it off because dumbass went in there and tried to see. They had gamma rays. Great, he's probably going to die. But yeah, so it's not a black hole. But the multiverse thing works. They think like it's related because the CERN thing is meant to detect particles and the Higgs boson and other particles that seem to wink in and out of existence through the universe and stuff. And they think, oh, it's going to create little micro black holes and stuff. It's not strong enough to do that. That's what I commented. I said, they're not strong enough. We don't have the technology to even create cold fusion yet, let alone Well, they do, but they don't want to use it. Uh, because it actually they have created an early version of fusion. The problem is it expends more energy to use it than it does to actually. If you cause more energy input than it does to output energy, your device doesn't work right. It breaks physics. Yeah, if you've made an engine that uses fusion power, but it actually, in order to get there, you have to suck more energy into it. Yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah, yeah, they do that. The lasers and all that heat it up, and yeah, there's no conservation of motion and energy. It wouldn't pay to turn it on yet. But the Hadron Collider does not create little black holes. It shoots particles around. Particle accelerator. A big tube, inside itself, and in order to even create a microscopic black hole, which is not possible here on Earth, you would have to have the power output of the entire sun to do that. And there's no way humans on Earth would ever have that. They just wouldn't have that. Even if you tapped the Earth's core, you wouldn't have enough power to do that. If you tapped all of Jupiter, you wouldn't have enough power to do that. Jupiter's way bigger than the Earth. It's a planet. Gas giant. You wouldn't have enough power to do it. Black hole is a super dense thing. You just can't make something like that out of a planet. It wouldn't happen. So these movies where a micro black hole passes through the Earth. No, it really wouldn't. It's universe sandbox. It's fiction.